I'm Riley Reese. This is the Sophia Unfiltered podcast, where we bring together thought leaders, wellness entrepreneurs, makers, and emerging health leaders. We're here to have raw, unfiltered conversations because sharing your stories has the power to change lives, help others heal, and transform the way we take care of ourselves. Here we go. Welcome back to another episode of Sophia Unfiltered. And today we have a very special guest with us. Ramón is actually the executive director at Warriors at Ease. And just for those of you who may not know anything about Warriors at Ease, it was actually established as a nonprofit back in 2011. The organization was founded by Robin Carnes, Karen Soltz, and Pat Lillis, and Molly Burkholm. These pioneering co-founders were involved in some of the first clinical studies funded by the DoD and the VA involving the use of yoga and meditation as an adjunct therapy for combat-related health conditions. In response to the success of these early studies at Walter Reed, the founders actually developed a robust, world-class training curriculum that directly addresses the unique physical and mental health challenges faced by service members and their families. So Ramón is an Army veteran himself. He's got a master's degree in education and holds a position as an instructor at the University of Arizona. Ramón's an ERYT 500 and brings a deep understanding of the practice to his teaching. He skillfully tailors his approach to the specific needs of the military community, incorporating trauma-informed techniques and mindful movement to foster healing and resilience. Ramón's commitment to wellness and education reflects his belief in yoga's power to impact individuals and communities positively. Welcome, Ramón. How are you today?
Good. Thank you so much, Riley. This was a great introduction. So yeah, thank you. I'm doing great.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here with us. We're excited to jump in. You know, as an Army veteran, and now you're the executive director at Warriors at Ease, you bring such a unique perspective to the integration of yoga and meditation to the military community. Can you share a little bit about your journey and then how it led you to this role?
Yes, of course. So like you mentioned, I'm an Army veteran, and I was stationed at Fort Cavazos. Now it's called Fort Hood when I was there and serving as an Army combat medic. And while I was there, I did my time, and I stayed in Killeen, Texas. And that's where it all started. I started a teaching position. I was teaching in fifth grade at an elementary school in Austin. And one day I was just driving by and I noticed that there was a yoga studio close to my house. So I was like, let me check this out. I had never done yoga. And as soon as I walked in, that was it. I fell in love. And, Beth Funk, who is the owner of Libos Yoga in Texas, she's the one, she's been my teacher and my guide since then. And that's how I got into yoga, and I loved it. After a while, then I made a decision of getting my certification. And that's where I found Warriors at Ease. So Beth is one of our amazing faculty members who conducts the training for Warriors at Ease. And I mean, I just fell in love with the practice. And then knowing that I could help someone else in need, especially veterans in need, I was just like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got involved with yoga and you started taking the practice, and then you became an instructor and you were a teacher at the same time. So that really kicked it all off. And then how did you end up as the director of the organization?
So there was later on, I took my certification training and I became a yoga instructor. And then I did the Warriors at Ease training. And that's where I learned more about the organization. I'm like, this is amazing, being able to get trained in trauma-informed yoga and being able to take that to the community, especially in Killeen, a lot of veterans. So very needed, much needed, especially there. But then I saw an opportunity to join the Warriors at Ease team. And I was like, you know what? It's nice to be part of a nonprofit to just help even more and see what we can do, to better the organization and move forward. And then I joined in 2020. That's when I joined Warriors at Ease as the teach program manager, which was mainly in charge of, all that administrative stuff, but in the back end, getting the teacher network going and getting everything put into databases. And anywhere that I could help, I would be like, okay, what can I do? Where can I go here? So that's how I found and joined Warriors at Ease as a member of a contractor.
Oh, got it. Okay. Well, let's jump into that. So tell us a little bit about Warriors at Ease and how it works and how they're actually doing all of this training. You want to get into that a little bit and tell us all the good stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's such an amazing training, and I say that because as a yoga teacher, as a veteran, I took the training, and I was just amazed by the content that it had. I mean, all of our founders did an amazing job at compiling all of this research, and that's more where my thought is. I mean, I'm just a research oriented kind of person anyways, so when I saw, I'm like, oh wow, these are actually studies that are being done at the VA, and actual studies that I can see and read, and facts, numbers, because that's my my brain. But I found it very interesting and very enlightening in a way, because it was like, wow, this is really needed, and based on what we do on the level one, which is our kind of our introductory course. Specifically, a lot of the content in our level one is focusing on introducing the military community, which is great for anyone who wants to learn more about the military. And then we include the components of yoga and meditation, and in the introduction to the studies that Warriors at Ease has gathered. After the level one is complete, we have our level two training, which is more of the adaptive yoga. It's more hands-on. So that is where you just, dive in and use your creativity. You use what you have learned from your level one, use what you have learned from your yoga teacher training in order to be able to create a class I should say a sequence that fits the needs of the military community, or in that case, anyone who has experienced trauma as well.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, I mean, we know this was founded based on the success of these clinical studies, right? Benefiting on how yoga and meditation benefit veterans, but specifically for combat related health conditions. Have you seen the perception and acceptance of these practices evolve with the military community since you started all this?
Yes, and I mean it's been, when I took the training back in 2018, I was just amazed just by being involved with the group of individuals who had that same interest of helping the military community. And now I recently went to what we call a combo training, which is our level one and level two, to Texas this past year, and it was just amazing, the connection and the dedication of other veterans who want to do the work, who want to help each other in a sense of doing that. And that's just, it was just very humbling, a humbling experience, I called it, because they were sharing stories about their own journey in the military. And it was just amazing to see how they have, I would say, gone through those challenges based on what they have done with yoga and meditation. And them sharing that story is like, yes, this is why we need yoga and meditation, because it is helping. And being able to see that as the organization has, since we've been around since 2011 and moving up until now to 2024, and all of those changes, and I think more awareness of the issues, and I shouldn't say issues, but more awareness of, PTS, more awareness of trauma, more awareness of the effects of TBI, which is all in our curriculum as well. So it's just been growing so much and having more awareness of that as well.
Okay, that's incredible. And for those people who don't know, okay, so you're not teaching yoga, you're teaching like an add-on awareness of how yoga instructors can really understand the military and our needs specifically, right? And so you're bringing them for different levels of training. So when you hold one of these training sessions, is it actually veterans who are becoming trained in this, or are people outside, are the civilians coming in and teaching this as well? So I imagine that's who this was geared towards.
Yes, it was geared more towards, anyone who wanted to help the military community through yoga and meditation. But recently we have a mix of individuals who are doing the work. So they're already yoga teachers, whether they were veterans in the military, already, or somebody who is a caregiver. We have a lot of caregivers, dependents,
Oh, good.
military spouses who are joining the program because, they want to share that with their husband's unit or somebody who they are taking care of. So it's been a mix of different people. And this is exactly what our mission and our goal is, to train those yoga teachers in order to take this to the military community and expand on that.
Oh, wow. So how does it work do you offer the trainings? Is this once a month? Is this around the bases? How could somebody join in on one of these teacher trainings?
So the nice thing about the level 1 is that it's offered online, which is great, easy. You take it at your own pace. There's no rush. You complete it when you complete it. For the level 2 or the combo training, we do schedule those throughout the year. So for 2024, we have 2 combo trainings set up. One in Newport Richey in Florida, coming up at the end of May, and then another one in Round Rock, Texas, which is in September. So we have those 2 combo trainings, and then we have a level 2 scheduled in Arizona, where I'm at in Tucson, Arizona. But and that will be in July. So we have those trainings already set up, and then that way we can get whoever finishes their level 1 can easily join that level 2, or if they're looking to just be in person with the level 1 and level 2, then they can join the combo training that we have set up.
Well, okay, that's great. That's good to know. Now, Ramon, what inspired you to focus on bringing these practices to the military community? I mean, obviously, we're both veterans and we know the PTSD, the TBIs, et cetera, but was it just the community? Like what really inspired you to focus on this aspect of the yoga practice?
So at first, it was more of the location that I was at. Being in Killeen, Texas, I mean, there were a lot of veterans and active duty service members as well who were joining the classes. So I figured it would be a good way to be more inclusive of who would be in the class. I mean, I went through an amazing yoga teacher training because it was Beth who conducted that training. But one of the things that, there's so much information in a 200-hour yoga teacher training that the main focus is on the sequence, on preparing for the class and doing this and that. But then when I did the Warriors at Ease training, it was more of, I would say more of a specialty, more specializing on how to approach somebody who has experienced trauma. And the thing is, I mean, a lot of us have experienced trauma and, we're just trying to go to a yoga class without even, I don't want to bring attention to this, but sometimes things happen that we release, especially in a yoga class. And as a teacher, I wanted to be prepared in case something like that happened. And being there to create that safe environment, which is one of the main things that we teach, be creating this safe environment for somebody who has experienced that to be in the class and feel safe by being there.
Yeah, that's powerful. I mean, have you seen specific outcomes or positive results that you witnessed as a result of the program or this specific training?
A lot, and this is why it's like one of the things that really encouraged me to take on this position as executive director was exactly just that. The stories that service members, veterans, yoga teachers that they were sharing with us, and all the testimonials that we had of how important this work has become in their practice or their teaching. That's what made me, you know what, I'm going to take this this step in this journey to keep guiding the organization in that direction of helping others. I mean, even when I went to the Texas training, I experienced a lot of the veterans were sharing their story, and that was just, eye-opening to me, like how willing they were to share their story and how willing they were to help others who have experienced that. That just made my year, my everything, because it was really inspiring to hear that and to have somebody who was in the military. And, for us knowing how the military culture is, of how, we tend to not show our emotion or not do this or that, and to be in a place where they were willing and able to share the story, that was just amazing.
Yeah, it sounds very vulnerable. And, so let's get into the details of the actual training, right? So how are the classes and the practices tailored to address the needs, especially the trauma-informed approaches, right? So you have a widely recognized trauma-informed training. What is that tailored? Like, what did they do when they founded this with all that research and education? Like, what did they find that we needed to address?
So a lot of the things that, that were found through the research was the need of, or the importance of, I would say, the nervous system and how to regulate the nervous system. So that's mainly what we are trying to do in a yoga class. We are already providing a space for somebody to be able to, feel safe, lower their maybe regulating their, I should say, regulating their nervous system and being able to be present at that moment without worrying about, oh, somebody's going to approach me, somebody's going to be looking at me or touch me or all of this. So when the curriculum that we have with Warriors at Ease, we're focusing on what things to do in order to avoid or to minimize the risk of any triggers that others might have. Of course, we can't control every single little thing that's going to happen in the class, but we are able to do small things as yoga instructors to help alleviate or to help reduce that risk of somebody getting triggered. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It might. One of the things, for example, is, like I said earlier, creating that safe environment, using our voice and our eye contact to ensure that everyone there feels safe and to let them know that we are, in a sense, the lookout for the class. So that way they're not feeling like, oh, here's this instructor just closing their eyes or walking around the room and just not knowing where the instructor is. And that's one of the things that we teach is keeping the instructor, the yoga instructor, in the front and making sure that everybody can see the instructor so that we are able to conduct the class in a safe manner. So that's just one of the little things, that we go into. We also talk more about any of the injuries that our veterans might experience in the service or even after. So all of those things that maybe even talking about adaptive yoga, if somebody, for a loss of limb, then we explain a little bit more about what type of poses we can include in the class or what type of support can we give them as a yoga teacher to help them get into a specific pose. So those are just small examples of what we have, but we also get a lot into more of creating this environment of communicating and making sure that we, keep with, in a sense of keeping our promise to what we're doing in class. That way, again, we're reducing that risk, we're providing that safe space, and we are also giving them exactly what they need with the yoga practice, the movement, the breath, the attention, the awareness to their own self, which is exactly what we want. We want to bring that awareness of how to allow them to regulate their own nervous system by using the breath, by using movement. And that's our main goal with this training.
Yeah, that's great. And so it sounds like obviously we're both veterans and so we get it, right? So it sounds like stepping into a regular yoga practice versus a yoga practice with somebody who may not have this awareness of our community, it could just be a very different experience in yoga, right? Which could, maybe even turn off some veterans who may say, this just really isn't for me at all. When, now what we want to do is really bring awareness. Like there are veteran focused yoga classes that may be more their style.
Right. And that's, Riley, that's our main goal is to educate as many yoga teachers or meditation teachers as possible in order to do that. I'm going to share a really quick story of, I'm very reserved and I consider myself definitely an introvert. So when I went to a different yoga studio and I tried a class, I was so caught off guard by, and I'm not saying the teacher was wrong or anything, but it was me trying to follow along. So I was looking for the instructor when he was behind me, and that just like made me like, I'm like, what am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing? And I'm looking around the room and everybody's doing something different. So I was completely lost. And that definitely made me think like, okay, no, this is not for me. And then that's why I was when I was doing the yoga teacher training and learning more about, hey, where the instructor is. I'm like, for me, it was like, wow, yeah, that's where the instructor should be. That way I can see exactly where they are. No, I can hear their voice. They're not just behind me trying to, and they're not doing it in a malicious way where they're trying to
Of course not. No,
hands on
of course
adjust
not.
you. But it sometimes it would startle me, so I would just jump, because I wasn't expecting something like that. So that's one of the definite things that we go over. We're not saying hands-on assistance is bad. No, it's communicating. Hey, can I adjust your foot here, or can I grab, your hand over here, and asking for permission before, touching someone, which is definitely something that I personally, definitely look for.
Yeah, I mean, it's really small, subtle differences. And I'm glad you explained that because one of our listeners could be sitting here and, they could not have any experience with a service or service members, and they could really not understand even remotely where we're coming from. And it's really hard to explain what we've been trained all of those years. I've served over 20 years. It's really hard to explain that to somebody. So I think that's really important that you bring up it's just the small subtleties, but that make a really big difference when you're coming in and trying to explain how the practice can be drastically different and it can turn somebody away from the whole practice itself, that's really what we don't want to happen.
Right. And that's one of the things, especially with the research that Warriors at Ease has, in the training. And I've even seen it more. So like I work for the University of Arizona, but I have access to the database where I'm able to read more about the research studies. And it's just so amazing how nowadays they're doing more research on the importance of breath. So breath work is super important in regulating the nervous system, which I mean, sometimes, before, I mean, I wouldn't even think about how I breathe or the different types of breathing, which, there's a ton. But being able to do this in a yoga class and, instructing someone to, oh, we're going to work on 3-part breath or, ocean breath, then it's like, oh, okay, well, what's this? And then you start noticing in your own body what it's doing. That's the amazing part. When I first started yoga, like I said, I was brand new to yoga. But the way that I felt after that yoga class was just, I'm like, wow. I'm like, where have I been?
Yeah, a lot of people say that. I mean, from meditation or the IRES specific meditation. Yeah. And now breath work is so popular. Absolutely. The VA is doing a lot of studies on all of their CIH approaches, right? They're saying they're absolutely showing results with, reducing anxiety and stress from yoga, meditation, Tai Chi, Qigong. Yeah, it's very powerful.
Yes, and I mean, and we're seeing more and more of that, which is amazing. I mean, I really enjoy seeing how much effort and sometimes even money are they're being putting into this type of research of like, hey, this has been around for thousands of years, like it's working. So and it's adapting it to who our audience is, and that's what we're trying to do with Warriors at Ease, adapting that yoga practice, that meditation practice to somebody who has experienced trauma or experienced anything, any disability issue or anything that, because again, the main thing is focusing on our own awareness of our own body. And I think sometimes we lose that, not knowing what our body is feeling, not knowing, well, why is it hurting over here or what's going on, and paying attention to that. That's what yoga is teaching us, to pay attention to our own body, which is exactly what is helping us regulate our nervous system as well.
Yeah, that's it's a really good point. And I'm curious. So, I mean, we as Sophia Health, we help serve the veterans, right? But you guys on the Warriors of the East Side get to do a lot of the training and work with a lot of the young service members who may be new to the military and may be practicing, which is amazing to start this out and have your whole career to help you regulate everything that's going on in your life, right? It's a good stabilizer in general. It's just a really good practice. But what role do you see this playing in for addressing mental health issues, like among the young veterans? Like we have the PTSDs, depressions. I'd be curious I mean, have you guys looked at doing a study on, what results are we seeing with the younger service members and issues that they may be having in their younger days before we get to the
And that has been one of definitely one of the goals with what we're doing, especially with training those teachers who are getting all of
Mhm.
those young soldiers or
Yep.
to
Yep.
attend those classes. And I remember when I mean I was attached to an infantry unit, so I remember we had one yoga teacher once, and the guys were all, "What yoga? Why are we going to do yoga?" But as soon as that instructor came in to our unit, everybody was like, "Oh wow, okay, okay." So sometimes it's not knowing what they're getting into in a sense of especially with yoga. There's so much of like, oh, yoga is for flexible people. That's the main thing that we always hear. But no, that's the point of yoga to get that flexibility. That's what you practice it in order to do that. But
Yeah, what are these other misconceptions, right? So, you know, you have to be younger, skinny, flexible.
you hear it all. It's one of those things that we hear different things, but the main thing, especially talking about younger soldiers, I saw that especially when I was in Colleen, a lot of the active duty service members, sometimes the spouses would be like, "Come on, let's go to yoga class," and they would be like, "Okay, I'll try it." But even seeing how somebody would go into the class and how they would feel at the end, it was just amazing to see that. And I'm like, yeah, this is working because in the class they have this serious face, and then at the end they were like, "Oh wow, I feel good." I'm like, yeah, exactly. That's what yoga does. One other thing that I do as well is sound immersion, we call it, with the singing bowls, and that's another component of this. And it's one of those things that some people just go in and like, okay, and I'm like, what should I expect? I'm like, "No, nothing, just relax and enjoy the sound, and the whole point is to relax." And then I always get that comment at the end. It was like, wow, I felt like I was floating, or I felt like I was somewhere else. I'm like, yeah, because your body is, relaxing, actually relaxing, not in this, high tension.
Calming down your nervous system, you know?
And I mean, I think this definitely will help anybody going through, mental health issues, or anything that depression as well. I mean, yoga is definitely one of these practices that is so beneficial. And again, it's having that awareness of your own self, having that awareness of your own body that helps regulate your nervous system as well.
Yeah, and I can't believe you guys had that offered to you in the active duty on the Army side. It was Air Force, and we definitely didn't have that. But when I was enlisted, it was just PT and running and push ups and sit ups, and that was pretty much it. So I'm a little jealous that you guys got to have yoga instructors brought in. We should do that on the Air Force side for sure.
It should. I mean, and it should be something that should be offered. I see it.
Absolutely. That's what we're looking at this year is why are we, these are proven modalities and we're giving this to veterans and providing access, which is hands down phenomenal. But why don't we do this for the younger service members who've got, could be looking at 20 years
Yeah,
left? Why, let's get them some of these, just basics like breath work. You don't need to pay for it. You learn how to regulate your own system and calm down and reduce anxiety and stress. Let's do this ahead of time. Let's not wait till the end to that's what we're looking at.
exactly. And a lot of the times, it, even when I went to my first yoga class, I mean, I wasn't expecting. I didn't even know what to expect. And that's the thing, just trying it. And I always say, just take one yoga class. That's it. Let's see how you feel after that. And it's always been a positive experience, at least with what I have seen. And sometimes we think of like, oh, well, it's just stretching, or it's not very physical, but it can be. So there's so many different styles. Hot yoga, that was my favorite, especially in Texas. Even though it was 110 degrees outside, but going into a hot yoga studio and moving and breathing, it was just something totally different.
Yeah,
But
no, that's a really good misconception that you bring up. So we
yeah,
even get emails about this. Well, this is not a HIIT class, so I'm not going to, enter XYZ. Well, I want to lose weight. I want to do this. I want to get stronger. Give it a chance.
yeah, Yeah.
right?
And you know what? That was me. That was me when I first started yoga. I'm like, oh, I want the power yoga class. I want the hot yoga class. And then I remember my teachers always like, oh, you should try this, yin yoga or restorative yoga. I'm like, nah, no, I'm okay. But as the first time that I tried it, I'm like, wow, okay, I need to add this to my schedule too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, what advice, Ramon, would you have to offer veterans or any service members who are interested in exploring the mindfulness or yoga for the first time? What would you tell them?
I would say go in, don't have any expectation. I mean, just go in. The I always say in a yoga class, even if you're just sitting down and breathing, you're doing yoga. That's all it is. You're adding the movement, you're adding the breath. The whole goal is to connect those two together as you're moving and breathing, and allowing the body to go into those different poses. It's not about getting into this difficult pose. No, it's about your own practice, your own self. So going into it with an open mind and going into it with the thought of like, this is going to be so beneficial for my own self, then that's it. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's perfect. And then can you tell us a little bit about what's next for Words at Ease? Like, where do you see the future of Words at Ease really evolving to continue supporting the well being of all these military personnel?
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that our main focus for this year is getting those trainings set up and getting our combo training, our level 2 training, and all that set up for the year. That way we can start. One of the other things that we just started is, especially for those who are already words that he's trained teachers, is continuing education courses. So we're adding that on starting actually this month is our first one. I'll be guiding a Reiki level 1 training. So I'm also a Reiki master. So that's one of the things that we're adding as a continuing education. Actually, Robin will be doing a Qigong little workshop as well, which is, where we're adding those little things, but we want to support our teachers as well. We want to continue to be there and in giving them the tools that they need, as time changes. And sometimes even our own practice changes. Like I said, I started off with this power yoga, and then I tried restorative. I'm like, oh, so that's what we want to do. We want to, encourage our teachers to get into different modalities or look into different styles as well. And maybe they'll enjoy that. So that's another thing that we're doing. And later on in the future, we're also working on looking at having our own yoga teacher training for, which we already have the curriculum for Warriors at Ease, and it's just combining that in order to have our 200-hour training so that they, anyone who is a veteran caregiver, same thing that we do for our trainings, they can become a yoga teacher. So that's what we're looking at in our near future, I should say.
Well, that is exciting. So you have to keep us posted on that for sure. I would imagine you're going to blend. It's going to be a blended. So they're going to learn all about the military, the veterans, and while they're going through the 200-hour training.
Yes, and that's our goal. That's I've seen a lot of, actually we've gotten a lot of emails of veterans asking, do you offer a yoga teacher training? And we're like, no, not yet. But it's like, I think it's time. I mean, we have the perfect curriculum. We have a lot of amazing faculty for Warriors at Ease. So it just makes sense.
So how can individuals and some of our listeners who may be outside of this military community support the mission of Warriors at Ease?
So we have our website. So it's our www.warriorsatease.org. And we have all of the information on there, whether it's our trainings, our continuing education courses will actually be on there as well very soon. But we have our mission and actually our donation page as well. So being a nonprofit, of course, we always love to have that support from our community, from anyone who sees the importance of what we're doing and how we're helping our community as well. So we always have that available as well on our website. Everything's on there. So it has our donation links, it has our courses and everything that we are talking about today.
Oh, that's great. And then I think you have a special gift for all of the listeners as well, a special discount code.
Yes. So one of the things that we're trying to get our level one out there, like I said, it's our kind of our beginning course, our introduction to Warriors that Ease has done, and the type of tools that we can prepare yoga teachers with in order to help the military community. So we're offering right now a 25% discount for that level one course, which again, it's online, self-paced, and it also gives 30 credit hours for Yoga Alliance. So for those yoga teachers who are looking for continuing education units, that's the perfect opportunity. So the best way to get that code is to email reg@warriorsatease.org. So that's reg@warriorsatease.org to ask for that discount code, and we'll send it their way.
Yeah, that's incredible. And Ramon, I have a random question. Okay. So I know this is about the military community, but this is also about really decreasing triggers, right? This is for people who have mental health, depression, who may have, TBIs are awfully specific in mental health, but PTSD. Can this not also help people? I mean, there's a lot of people who could have these issues, right? So I know this is super targeted to the military and veteran community, but I'm just saying, wouldn't all yoga teachers want to have this kind of additional training for anybody in their class who may have triggers? Or is it so tailored specifically to the military that that's not the case?
No, you know what? It definitely, it definitely helps everyone. The tools that we are including in our training, yes, we're geared towards the military community, but again, it's not the everybody has different traumas, different depression, PTSD, and everything. So one of the things that this program does provide is giving those tools to the yoga teachers in order to do this. Now that I moved back to Arizona, and it's not a military town. Yes, there's a Air Force base really close, but I was working mainly with seniors, so it's a retirement community where I'm at, and the same tools apply to everyone. So my classes are still Warriors at Ease style classes, but it's helping the community that I'm in. It's helping those members who are joining those my yoga classes, in the sense of going to the class. But I see it working for senior citizens. I see it working for young, for everyone, not just the military community. It does help everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like it's a great way to get a CEU knocked out for any of the yoga instructors who may be listening, who need the continuing education. It just sounds like a really great way to really be aware of people who may be dealing with whatever past traumas that we're dealing with. And that's not only veterans or military members who have traumas. I hate it when everybody just has that association. I'm like, there's a lot of people who have traumas. It's not just the military, but we appreciate your work. Ramon, is there anything else that you would like to share about Warriors at Ease and your program?
I would just say, it's the support is, greatly appreciated. Any support that we can get, the work is being done, and we are definitely looking to expand in order to give this training to anybody in any community. Like I said, it doesn't have to be restricted to veterans. Yes, our training is geared towards that, but it's for everyone. So we want to definitely have the support of the community, anyone who is willing to help us out with a donation or by signing up for our training. It's everything helps. So any support that we can get is definitely greatly appreciated, and know that it's going towards a cause that is helping, that it's actually I've seen the results of what it's doing in the military community and with other individuals as well. So any support is greatly appreciated.
Okay, great. And then a question that we ask all guests on the show: if you could please share 3 fundamental pillars that contribute to your well-being.
Yes. So definitely my first one has to be yoga. That is one of the main things. And, sometimes as instructors, we tend to step away because we're focused so much on the work that we're trying to do that we sometimes forget that, we are humans as well, and we need the same tools that we're providing others. We need them ourselves. So I think that's definitely one of the main pillars. Another one, I would say, meditation has been something so helpful for my own well-being. And I say this, I'm going to be honest, I'm not the type of person that can just sit and meditate. Sometimes taking a walk and focusing on how I'm breathing, focusing on how I'm walking, that's meditation in itself. So I'm focusing on one task as I'm moving, and that has helped me a lot to not to say I can clear my mind, but I can quiet my mind down, which is the main goal of meditation, to settle. And then the last one, I would say, the relationship with people. I think that has helped me a lot, especially in the work that I'm doing with Warriors at Ease. It has helped me connect with other individuals who might have the same interest. It has helped me grow as a person as well, because I'm able to see how the goodness of what we're trying to do and what we're providing to the community.
Yeah, those are great. And then where can our listeners connect with you, get more information? And I know we have the website, which we're also going to be linking in the show notes, but can you tell us really fast how you want to connect?
Yeah, so we also have our Facebook page, Instagram account. So we're always posting there anything with our trainings, anything that's going on with continuing education, or any partnerships that we've developed throughout the years. We also have that. And if you just have any general questions, feel free to send me an email. It's super easy. Ramon, so RAMON at warriorsatease.org. I'm always on my email, so I get those, can respond to those easily.
Okay, great. And then social is just Warriors at Ease. So super easy.
Yes.
Social for Instagram and Facebook, just go to Google, do a search for Warriors at Ease. Okay, perfect. Thanks so much for listening. This has been Sophia Unfiltered, a podcast by Sophia Health, the #1 marketplace for health and wellness. Find services, classes, and products from the top health and wellness providers. Book an appointment or join live classes now. I'm your host, Riley Reese. If this episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear about it in the comments section of your favorite podcast provider or with a 5-star rating. Let us know what your biggest takeaway from this episode was, or share it with someone you hope to inspire. Join us again next time for more real conversations, stories, and insights that help empower you with the knowledge and inspiration needed to transform how we care for ourselves.